Not the Footy Show.
I just want to start off by saying thank you to Telstra, also our major sponsor, Oak Plus. Next thanks goes to Parramatta. It's always a battle against you guys. It's amazing to have two teams from Western Sydney represented here tonight. You had a great season. Looking forward to continuing those battles. To our boys, it's an absolute pleasure to play alongside you guys. And, just very blessed to wear this Penrith jersey. To win 4 comps throughout, our whole club this year is amazing. Thank you for that, guys. Absolute pleasure. Lastly, to the fans, thank you so much. I'm so blessed to represent Penrith and can't wait to party with you all.
All right, Nathan, you know what to do. Grab that Premiership trophy, celebrate with your team. Ladies and gentlemen, your defending premiers, the 2022 Telstra NRL champions, the Penrith Panthers.
G'day everybody, welcome to episode 262 of Not the Footy Show. I'm Warrick, Nicolson. Robb Cox is with me, and there are smiles basically in all of the Golden West. Or what is the Golden West, Cocksmith? Because as far as I'm concerned, Penrith winning 28 points to 12 in the grand final means it's a very golden Penrith West at the moment.
I'd say it's a golden foot of the mountains, mate. Maybe not so happy, 20 Ks, 15 Ks further east. But the Kings of the West, they did it as we exclusively predicted a few days ago.
We have done a few of these podcasts of grand finals. I listened back to it. We were pretty confident. We were more than confident. You could argue we were Penrith arrogant about the result. We were very, both scores. So you had 28-14, so you just missed out. I was looking spectacular there in the second half at 26-8, and then the last try came in to sort of stuff me. But you've just missed by 2 points. The story of this grand final is that Penrith, comprehensively the better team, withstood Parramatta's early, effort at the grind. And from about the moment that Brian To'o scored his first try, this grand final was over.
Yeah, it was, mate. Look, I think the first opening exchanges for the first 5 or 6 minutes were pretty equal. But after that, if you watch the game again, Penrith were making, with it minus a kick, so 5 tackles, they were making 50 and 60 metres for 5 tackles. And then a kick on the end of it had Parramatta always coming off their 10-metre line. And they struggled to get to the halfway line for so long. And, and that's a testament to how good Dylan Edwards was, as well as To'o and Staines. Those guys in concert together were just fantastic for the first couple of tackles every set. And, Penrith really won the bash. They did not for the first 5 or 6 minutes, but they kept it up.
I'd argue that Parramatta were possibly slightly in the ascendancy in the first,
you could argue for that because they've got a bigger pack. They've got Regan Campbell-Gillard and Paulo. But look, you saw the blueprint to beat them last night, and that is to get them to work and work hard. And then from 20 minutes onwards, Campbell-Gillard's runs were nothing, and Paulo at best was getting a pass away every now and then, but not often. And unfortunately, you need your big men to keep pushing through the middle, and Penrith owned the middle after 15 minutes last night.
Game was over before RCG and Paulo finished their first stints. That can't happen if you're Parramatta. Just can't, because they've got to rest, and you ain't bringing back a score when they're not on the field. So the opening stages, we saw the Cleary pressure for 2 sets, Cocksmith. The third set, the actual third set, watching from the nosebleeds at Stadium Australia. Reid Marnie took off, but he was not even in the picture by the time that Cleary had kicked it. He'd got to him the set before, gave him a nice little roughing over. But the third set, you'd have no pressure on Cleary. He can do what he likes. That's not acceptable.
when you come out of marker, you've got to run 15 to 20 meters. You've got to sprint 15 to 20 meters to get to him. And that wears you down because you've just sprinted 15 or 20, and someone like Reid Marnie has then got to back up and be the dummy half for 5 tackles. He's not the man for that job.
Correct.
It's a back rower that's the man for that job.
Niocoro, someone like that who's on there for the first 20 minutes. He has to spend himself and go after Cleary. That's his job. And that's why I thought Brown would have been a better choice to do that. I think Coach Arthur, as well as Parramatta did, and let's be honest, they were grand finalists. They finished in front of 14 other teams. But Coach Arthur made a couple of blunders, I believe, in the final series, and one being, in my opinion, not having Nathan Brown as your hit man. And I'm not saying to go out there and take heads off, because you get sent off then you've got to play with 12 men. But to go out there and really empty your tank in that first 20 and then bring a fresh Madison on or a fresh Niokore on to, who knows what else is going to happen in those first 20. But I think you give yourself the best opportunity to bring someone like Nathan Brown, who's quite fit for a big man. He's quite fit. Empty his tank, all right? And then you say, you're done for the evening unless there's an injury. All I need is 20 minutes. There was that, and, we won't go too deep into the game yet. But that's what you're right. The game was over by the 20-minute mark, really, and Penrith knew it. All they needed to do was keep their heads. That's all they needed to do, and they did. And they defended brilliantly. The full-time score, which was 28-12, flatters Parramatta significantly.
Absolutely. It should have been 28 blot.
I think where I was sitting, I've got the notes here, sorry, but about 61 gone. It's 28-0, and we'll go back through the game. But I turned to the people I was sitting with and just said, the number one thing Ivan Cleary would have asked his team going into this grand final is keep Parramatta to 0. Guarantee that was the main message all week. I mean, it didn't end up that way, but 60 minutes gone in the grand final, the other team hasn't scored a point. There's a reason you're premiers.
Absolutely. And some, look, there'll be some people argue that the try where Kikau was tackled by Moses was an obstruction, and I don't necessarily agree. I actually, for once, I agree with referee Klein, who, when he sent it up, you probably didn't hear what he said.
You mean for the first one or the second one? Because he did it both times.
He ran to the inside shoulder on the first one. The second one, he was on the outside shoulder. And everyone in the commentary box was saying, "Oh, that's not. They're going to get it taken off him." But if you look at it, Moses gets when you see the camera head on, Moses gets a good look at Kikau and just tackles him. And Klein sent it up and said, that he believed that it was a try, and he believed that what Moses did was a defensive decision. And Grant Atkins concurred. Whether you like it or not, it's a try in the books, but I don't think there's too much. The only thing that, Andrew Johns said that it's been a no try all season. Why should it be a try now?
Incorrect from Joey. They changed it halfway through the year. We've been playing with 2 sets of rules this year.
Yeah.
They changed the rules.
I just think when you make that defensive decision and try and milk it, which we know Moses does. Moses is a milker.
No way.
He had probably half a metre clearance. If he doesn't actively touch Kikau doesn't touch him. He runs through the line.
And he runs through. Yeah. Look, that was the second one. The first one I actually thought was more of an obstruction than the second one, for the exact reason that you said, that Moses tackles Kikau on the second one. The first one, he actually makes contact with Moses in the way that if he'd had that happen in the second one, I reckon they give it no try. But can we just go back quickly to the first try? A little bit of pressure from Penrith and inside ball from Edwards finds Crichton, who, as good as I reckon Gutho was in a beaten team for Parra, he didn't stop trying all night. He's got to make that tackle. He just tackle. There's not enough space between him and Crichton at the start of that run that excuses him getting beaten.
Yeah, Crichton is deceptively a big dude. Like, you don't when you see him running in slow-mo, you see how long his legs are. He's got a big stride. He's exceptionally quick for a big man. He's hard to stop. Not in a Mal Meninga way, but in a Greg Inglis kind of a way. Gutho didn't stop trying all night, and there's nobody that could ever say that Gutho's effort is lacking. Correct. But he's more often than not with Gutho, it's his execution. There's a few. He definitely has a few problems in the way he plays. I'm not really a fan, to be perfectly honest, but I think you're right. That's a try that needs to be saved. At least slow him down enough to
so the cover
let
can
the
come.
help
Yep.
come and get him. But mate, it was a really good play. And who was it that threw the ball to him?
It was Edwards, and Dylan Brown got caught watching. Back on the inside. That goes 6-0. Yeah, sorry.
And I think you'll find that Lane actually tackled Cleary as well. And he really didn't need to tackle Cleary, and he's your inside man.
Yeah.
So
it goes 6-0 Penrith, and then Toto scores this try on the left edge. Cleary missed the kick, but even 10-0, you're going, as Parramatta got 2 tries in them, because they've thrown a lot at Penrith in terms of their energy in that first 20 minutes, and they've got goose egg. I don't think they had you might have heard it on the telecast, but I don't remember them having a legitimate set of 6 inside the 20 of Penrith in the first 20 minutes.
I think you're right, mate. Yeah.
And the only moment that I can think of where they got anywhere near that was the Mitchell Moses chase of the kick that we just had a cameo from the missus out at Camden. I like him.
It's really weird. She could have walked around the back of the computer.
She just wants to get on. She's on an episode every year. We don't know about it the other years, but she's on this one. And basically, it gets to 10-0, and you're just going, I don't know what you've got, Parramatta, because nothing you've tried has got you into the match, let alone into a position to score points. Then we have the moment that, I'll be honest, sitting in the stands, everybody there, Penrith fan, neutral fan, Parramatta fan, shook their heads at, and you have a single guess of what that is at 10-0 down with 21 minutes gone.
Remind me, mate.
A short dropout from Gutho.
Look, I think not really remembering numbers, but Parramatta had 5 or 6 dropouts last night. It was a short dropout every time. I don't understand. I do understand throwing them in there every now and then, but Parramatta needed to go deep and get down and play field position.
Correct.
And didn't because the short dropout, even if it's a 50-50, I think it's more like about a 25-30% chance you're going to get the ball back. But it's such a low percentage play, and then Penrith on the 10-metre line are on the attack again straight away. They're pressuring you straight away.
The first time, but the upside of catching it is you have to ruck it out of your own end for 5 tackles.
Yeah.
How's that a benefit?
Yeah,
no,
I don't think it is. I think kicking it over the halfway line, defending on the 30, and hopefully holding them out to 20. It's not a good position to be in either way, but I think they never played the percentage plays Parramatta last night. I guess I'm sounding hypocritical because when we spoke earlier on in the week, we said they needed to throw everything they can at Penrith, but those low percentage plays every time end up giving you not much chance.
It's just a gut punch. Exactly Penrith didn't go for 6. They didn't have to. 12 was enough.
Yeah.
12 meant that, they're going to have to score 3 times to beat you. 2 times they might get it close, but they're not scoring 3 times against you. And that was just a decision. And he put his hand up, and I'm thinking all through the year, and Para fans will know better than me. They probably paid more attention, but I just don't remember them doing this that often during the season. And if this is your big master play in a grand final, is to do short kickoffs, short dropouts when you're down 10 points, you might want to rethink your technique. 18-0 when who scored the next try? Scott Sorensen scored off the
kick.
Nathan Cleary grubber. I mean, Gutho is in that a little bit in the Mitchell range of, they do try and go up and make that big hit or that tackle in the line and can get caught out. But this is a bad one for Gutho. He's on the other side.
Does he need to be in the line?
No, and but the worst thing about it, my brother noticed this when we watched the highlight thing at the end of the night. He goes, Gutho's on the wrong side of the ruck.
Yeah,
it's not even that much of a risk.
He's got to go with the ball.
Cleary's not playing like I'll pull out a trump card. No, he's just playing a 10 of clubs or something. That's all he needs to get the trick. It's not that big a play.
Cleary, once he gets into his comfort zone, is the master of playing heads up footy. He notices everything. And you'll notice with Cleary that if a team is really getting off their line hard, 9 times out of 10 he's going to kick behind. It's footy 101. If a team's really getting up too quick on you, kick him behind the line. it'll make them think twice about it. But they also didn't have a fullback there. It was, it really was his eyes lit up moment. And Sorensen, all he needed to do was run through and get on the ball. So that was a very simple rugby league try, but very well executed by Cleary, who I thought had a really good game last night.
Yeah, I thought his kicking game was the only thing that probably let him down from a long perspective. I didn't think he hit the ball that well throughout the night. A couple of notes in the first half. It's 18-0. Para did have one last chance before halftime and lost the ball on the second tackle.
Yep.
It wasn't so much you had to get a try out of that. It would have been glorious for him, but just sort of said, we don't really have anything. The other part of it was I noticed how quiet one end of the ground was, unsurprisingly. And the one thing that really struck me about Parramatta's tactics beyond the short dropouts and the like is what was wrong with kicking to Charlie Staines last night? Was there a problem? Was there a reason that he kept kicking to Toto and Edwards? Because Mitchell Moses...
because he kicks on the right-hand side of the ruck.
Insanity.
That's where he's going. He's either going to the middle or to the right or to their left wing.
But it's the whole first half, it's just the same thing. And you're basically bringing Toto and Edwards running game into the match. I don't get it. And the one person that you hope you probably kick to that wouldn't hurt you as much on the kick returns would be Charlie Staines. So I don't know how that doesn't work. And the first set of 6 after half-time, Cocksmith, guess what he does? Mitchell Moses down the short side, kicks to Brian Toto and Edwards again. Like, how does that happen?
This is the thing about Mitchell Moses, mate, and I've said it before. I'm going to say it again, and there'll be Parramatta fans who are going to say, you don't know what you're on about, you Gronk. Mitchell Moses is a flat-track bully, right? When things are going his way, he's very good. When momentum's going his way, he's very, very good. But to think that you can't put yourself on the left-hand side of the ruck and kick to Staines, he always kicks from the right-hand side of the ruck. Always.
Why can't he cede to Dylan Brown for once? Why has he got to be so...
I don't know.
To do it all?
I'm not sure. Can Dylan Brown kick?
Plan. It was clearly the game plan.
Can Dylan Brown kick? I don't know because I've never seen him
bring
kick.
Someone into the game.
It's
crazy.
To me, they weigh very much heavily on Moses, and he's the highest paid player in the team. And they keep going to him, but I really don't think this is the other thing. Let me just digress for a moment.
Yep.
Tigers are talking about possibly bringing Moses home. Why would you?
Let's save that for the recruitment whisperers, mate. That's not dominate our off season.
Would you? and Tigers, by the way, let me digress even more down a little rabbit hole. Tigers are the only club on earth that see Luke Brooks as their number one signing. Basically, it's their priority to get the number one signing is Luke Brooks. Their plan B is Moses and Munster. What are they smoking at Concord? Honestly, please tell me what.
I don't put the same stock in what the news reports say about that stuff. You know that.
What are they smoking?
Well, they're looking for clicks, that's for sure.
Not the Footy show.
Look, they're a very good team. They played very well the first half. Just played too fast for us, and look, we're disappointed. But I just said to the boys, like, right now is not the time to try and review that or dissect that game. We're just beaten by a better team. They were too good for us tonight, and I'm extremely proud of the team, the staff, the club. It's a tough road to get here, and maybe the tough road took its toll on us. But big achievement. It's something we're not just putting the cue in the rack and saying we're content with that. But I just want to focus on how proud I am of the guys as individuals and as men. How good men they are.
As I said, we changed a couple of little things this week. Not a lot, but we definitely learned. Just around distractions and stuff like that. To the boys' credit, they nailed every training session, which is pretty much what they've done most of the year. Honestly, I can't even think of a training session where I came off and wasn't happy. And that's the way you train is how you play. So, it's just a credit to all of them. They're just so consistent. They leave their egos at the door and they come in and they just they all get on well, but they do everything for the team. And that's good things happen.
Off the Footy Show.
Halftime came and went.
Sorry.
Halftime entertainment was okay.
I didn't watch it. Who entertained us?
A couple of activations, a couple of kicks for goal where half the people doing it couldn't kick it 3 meters. So that made it really exciting.
Why are they doing it? There's 82,000 people paid for tickets. Why can't you put an entertainer on? Why are we doing relays and kick for goals?
It's not like we didn't have Jimmy Barnes, and they had a stage set up at the end of the ground they could have used. And I just don't. Look, halftime entertainment is that it's there. You're generally talking, or you're lining up for food, or or whatever.
But the whole hold on. It's a grand final. It's a big match. Let's compare our grand final with the Super Bowl, please. You know, why can't they fork out another 50 or 80 grand and get somebody in to entertain at least so the fans feel like they've been entertained? Watching a relay or watching a goal kicking contest, that's for bloody Penrith on a Thursday night.
Bring out the little kids if you're going to do something like that. Give us something to get excited about. The other thing that was interesting was they did a couple of random acts like before the NRLW game, in the middle of the day where no one's really paying attention. Just push them into the halftime. Do something where, because once that the light goes and the artificial light kicks in, it's an atmosphere builds. And Jimmy Barnes was great. That did the trick. Got us going. So halftime comes and goes. Second half, it's just here we go. And I think Toto scored again just after halftime on that play we said before around the Moses tackling thing, and that made it 22-0. Then we had Parramatta's little jump in the game. It was too late anyway. First, we saw the Isaiah Papali'i crusher not get penalised. I don't care if he meant to do it or not. That is a crusher every day of the week. And for them to change the rules come grand final time is just ridiculous. And, of course, then now the other team loses their player to a HIA, which didn't even happen on the I don't think it even happened on the actual crusher, but it's a clear crusher. It just has to happen.
Who was it? Who did he do it on?
Tungo. Tungo went into the line. That's right. He kissed Marnie's shoulder with his nose, and then Papali'i came over the top. Dylan Brown's first run that I noticed was in the 55th minute. Then a minute later, Moka Sivo drops the ball over the line, and officially the moment that Parramatta fans started getting up and walking out of the ground. So 56 minutes of the grand final in 2022. All hope was lost. Then we had the Dylan Edwards tackle on Bailey Simonson. It is a great tackle. It is fun to watch. It's what fullbacks should be doing. My first thing I said to someone sitting next to me was, I'm betting the next 15 minutes, all you hear from the commentators on TV is, it's Sattler. Am I correct?
They said it.
Yeah. To be fair, it's a fair enough comparison. It's just don't put it in the same category as that tackle. For a start, that game was on the line. This one, it's 22-0. It's over. I thought that pretty much etched Dylan Edwards' name on the Clive Churchill Medal, and then he set up Charlie Staines a couple of minutes later to absolutely secure it. But before we go off on Dylan Edwards, a couple of special mentions. I thought the best player on the field in the first half was Liam Martin. When the game was still him and
I'd agree.
Him and Isaiah Yeo were outstanding in the first half.
Yeah, they both did very much a big lot of the hard work for sure.
A couple of
Liam Martin is next level, really. He is, and we both know that he's probably going to be leaving Penrith at the end of next year because he's going to get a big offer.
Yeah.
And I think every team in the comp could use someone like Liam Martin.
Do you see Liam Martin now ousting a Hudson Young or a Sean Lane from the Kangaroo squad?
Yes.
That performance. Someone's going to miss out who thought probably they were there a week ago.
Probably Sean Lane will probably miss out.
Yeah.
I'd say because Hudson Young, I think he's going to be very fresh, and I think he's the future. Sean Lane's getting a little long in the tooth, and even though it'd be a nice gesture, I think Mal needs to build the team around people that want to be there and want to be there for a while.
What's the 20 minutes to go? It was 28-0. Were you thinking Manly's 40-0 record was under threat or not?
No, I felt that Penrith just were thinking about after the game a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's probably what got Parra their 2 tries. Although I do admit, I'll tell you one thing Isaiah Papali'i is very good at, because he was involved in both of them, is the no-look pass.
Yeah.
And not a no-look pass in strategical way, but a running pass to somebody who's supporting him and just pearlers of passes. Very, very good. I think the second try, the one that Jake Arthur scored,
Hey, didn't we predict that?
You did. It was almost the same scoreline too, you know.
It wasn't my tweet, remember. I saw the tweet and I recounted the story. I saw it got retweeted last night, so well done. So I think it's Seagull Spurs, the guy who tweeted it.
But Papali was involved in both of those. The second one was prettier.
It was a lovely try.
It was a really good try. But too little too late, Parry. I mean, to score a pretty try like that for a show reel or something would be lovely, but it means nothing when you really, deep down, footy players know that they should have been held to zero, and Penrith were probably thinking about spraying champagne around a dressing room more than trying to hold them out.
The one text message I got through to you all night, the reception at the top of the stands was like my phone was not working from a connection point of view from about 5 p.m. But I just said this game needs more Jake Arthur. And you come 100%. Through with time for Jake Arthur, and then he scored a try like 2 seconds later.
Get Jay Arthur on.
Jay Arthur. 28-6, I'm thinking I've come so close to the score at 26-8. And then that Jake Arthur try got you pretty much bang on at 28-12 from 28-14, which was your guess. Marnie's last role as an Eel is getting replaced with 5 to go. I didn't love that. I thought he probably deserved to stay on the field for the last couple of minutes.
I think he was one of their better players.
Exactly. So, Gutho, I thought, was he was their effort for the night, but they just were out of class. That's the long and the short of this, Cocksmith, is that I was thinking about what's a comparison to something that people might remember growing up, and I'm thinking a little bit like Brisbane 93, in that they won in 92 as the favourites. They should have won it. They got through. They gave the Dragons gave them a bit of a contest in the first half of that grand final. And the next year, it was on a different system under a final 5. But what people don't remember about that is that the Broncos finished 5th, but they were like 2 points from second. So it wasn't like they'd had a bad year. They ran the table in that final series. The Dragons looked really good in their 2 semis, and they got to the grand final. Even though the score was close, Brisbane would never lose in that grand final, and they defended their crown. This felt like very much like that. Penrith, you knew the game was pretty much gone, and they're quite rightly back-to-back premiers, mate.
Back-to-back premiers, mate, and very much deserved given what they'd done all year and what they did in the finals. Very clinical. They just look like a team, because they look like a team that have been together for a long time. They're well coached, not only from Ivan, but from the assistants there as well, obviously. And I think they deserved everything they got, mate, which is to be minor premiers and premiers in a very dominant year.
Yeah,
pretty similar to last year. The only thing in last year they hiccuped in the finals.
Well, last year I thought actually Melbourne were arguably as good, if not better, during the regular season than Penrith. They were phenomenal, Melbourne, last year, and then they got beaten by Penrith in the prelim. There wasn't really a contender to them this year. There just really wasn't. You didn't ever get the feeling that the Cowboys were going to really stand up in September. Same with the Sharks. And Eels got there. And the thing about this for Parramatta fans is, look, it's disappointment. And as I said, the crowd was pretty much out of there by the 65th minute. They were Parramatta fans. But you just sometimes got to, doff your cap and say, just too good. It's just what it is. You get to a grand final. There's no moment in that game, as far as I'm concerned, if you're a Parramatta fan, where you go, what if? There's not.
No, there's no moment, mate. It was really a bunch of moments strung together in the first 35 minutes of the game that sunk Parramatta, and there was nothing they could do about it. There's nothing the coach could have done about it, even with, I think Brad Arthur made a couple of strategical errors in the choice of his team going into the finals, but once you look at who was available for him, there is nothing he could have done, really. It wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have mattered if he had a Nathan Cleary on the bench. Nothing's changing the way that game kind of went about. So, Jake Arthur, some people will whinge, moan and complain that he was in the team, and probably rightfully so. But at the same time, it wouldn't have mattered if Jake Arthur was as good as Andrew Johns or Nathan Cleary put together. He wasn't changing that. The makeup of their team as a combination is what the problem is at Parramatta.
It can beat sides. It can beat sides, that combination. But can it beat the best side at the end of the year? The answer is no.
No. Some will argue that Wanga Blake shouldn't have been in the team or is in the wrong position. And it's a fair argument.
Yeah.
But again, he didn't make too many errors last night. He made one at a pretty kind of hinge moment. But even that, you can't really hang Parramatta out to dry too much on one performance.
It was still 18-0 after half-time when he made that mistake.
Yeah.
Yes, they scored after it. But I haven't looked at any stats at all, Cocksmith, and I deliberately haven't done this because for me, grand finals and player of the matches should be judged on that feel of what your eyes saw. Happy with Edwards getting it. I thought probably the scoreline blowing out a bit helped his cause over Liam Martin or Isaiah Yeo, because you don't look at those contributions in the first half in the same sense if the score's 20-odd to nothing. You look at who did a few more of the bigger plays, which is fair enough, but if the score had been 14-10 or 14-6, Liam Martin or Isaiah Yeo probably are much more in that conversation. And in the end, Edwards rightfully gets it, I think.
I think so, mate. I think you're 100% right. If the score's 14-8 at full time, then one of those two players you mentioned, Yeo or Liam Martin, would get the Clive Churchill. The only disappointing thing for me in the whole game, mate, was the fact that Nathan Cleary came up 1 inch short for his try. I think he deserved a try. Yeah. I think he really did. For his year, he deserved that try. That was probably the bit of disappointment. But at the same time, I think his end of game speech or his end of game interview speech was all time. I think that he's when he's talking about being blessed and being privileged and things like that, I think it's coming from the heart, and I think that's how you do a talk. That's how you deliver a speech like that. And because it's true, these guys quite often are privileged, very privileged, and blessed to be in a system like something like Penrith. And I really enjoyed that speech, to be honest.
Yeah, well, I played it to open the podcast. Congratulations, Penrith. They won Jersey Flegg. They won New South Wales Cup. They won first grade. They win SG Ball as well.
Yeah, it's 4.
They 4 premierships. Not too bad. The New South Wales Cup team smashed the North Devils in the State Cup Championship, but that was apparently the story goes that the North Devils had been drinking all week, and Penrith had been playing opposed sessions to Penrith. Like the New South Wales Cup team had been doing opposed sessions to the NRL team for the whole week, so no surprises there. Pretty entertaining NRLW grand final. The Knights, as we expected, they got the chocolates against Parramatta, who made a bit of a fight for it, but and got run over at the end. Tameka Upton is she's just a fun player to watch. You can just see her. Every time she gets the ball, you're just going, what's she going to do next? And
how good is young Southwell? 17 years old.
I know. The only thing I didn't like about her performance is that she absolutely laid into the referee once. I'm going, just ease up. You're 17. A little bit of respect. I actually thought Casey Badger handled it really well, because she could have marched her and binned her for the way she carried on. But she said,
Did you see Panthers have applied for an NRLW license?
Oh, they have they?
Yeah.
Not the Footy show.
With early army kicker and little Apanisa. Apanisa, how are you, darling? You good? Yeah. You look like you're just soaking it all up.
Just trying to. It's going to take some time just to sit back and soak it all up. Obviously, it's my last year in Penrith. Got to take some time to sit back and reflect on my time here in Penrith.
Well, there was a lot of good players out there, but none better than yourself. It looked like you really wanted to finish on the right note.
Yeah, I think that was the goal for myself personally. Then you have a couple of us leaving, so the boys sort of. We knew we just had to do the same thing that we've been doing the whole year. It's been working for us, and that's what we did. Just so happy we could get the win. For myself, this club has done so much for me, and the only way I could leave them is with another premiership, and happy we got the win.
What do you think makes this club so special, so good?
I think a lot of people talk about the culture. I think every club has a culture, but it's up to the people that are in the club to buy into that culture. That's what makes us different. All the boys sort of buys into what we're what we're trying to do. You don't really know if there's a senior player or a player on the 30th player in the top 30 squad is talking. Everyone has a say, everyone listens, everyone respects each other, and there's no ego in the club. So I think that's what makes this club a great club.
All right, go and enjoy the lab, go and enjoy your night, and go and enjoy the week.
Yes, sir. Thanks, bro. Will do.
Not the Footy Show.
We've only got 5 minutes left on the Zoom, and the Kangaroo squad has just dropped. Foxsmith.
Tell me, who is it?
The team is
Edwards in?
No.
Go on. He's not.
No. And neither Sean Lane and neither is Hudson Young. Woo! They both missed out. The team is Josh Addo-Carr, Matt Burton, Regan Campbell-Gillard, Patrick Carrigan, Daly Cherry-Evans, Nathan Cleary, Lindsay Collins, Reuben Cotter, no Damien Cook, Angus Crichton, Tino Fasualami. Stopped it again. Sorry, buddy. Campbell Graham, Harry Grant, Valentine Holmes, Ben Hunt, Liam Martin, Latrell Mitchell, Cameron Munster, Cameron Murray is vice-captain. Jeremiah Nanai has the one that's beaten out Young and Lane for that other back row spot. Murray Talangi, James Tedesco, Jake Trebojevic gets in the squad, Jack Whiten and Isaiah Yeo. So there's no room for the ones we talked about a little bit earlier in the podcast. They've been ousted by Jeremiah Nanai, basically. And Liam Martin's grand final performance has got him in there.
How many back rowers have they got?
Isaiah Yeo, they'll play Trebojevic as a prop. Jeremiah Nanai, that's 2. Liam Martin is 3. Tino can play back. He'll play prop, though. Angus Crichton is probably the other one that's beaten out those other 2. They've picked up Angus Crichton.
How many fullbacks do they have?
This is also Lindsay Collins, the other. I reckon he's the shock selection. I'm really surprised he got in. Reuben Cotter's, I guess, pushed out another back row spot potentially, even though he played prop this year. Fullbacks, you got Val Holmes, who can play fullback. Mitchell can play fullback. Munster can play fullback. Teddy can play fullback. So no Edwards. I didn't think there was a room for him.
I'm going to have to go over that. I think our next podcast should be about that.
Well, I think if people want it, we will definitely talk about the World Cup as it happens, as far as I'm concerned, because it's also a good time slot where we can do a pod the next morning to recap it, potentially, what's happened overnight. So that's Kangaroos World Cup squad. New Zealand's team is really strong as well. And I'm just surprised there's a couple of guys there I think have got in, but I'm not unhappy with it as a New South Wales Australian supporter. I'm not sitting there going, "These guys should be there because he's a blue" or whatever. It's not. No. I'm not
thinking about that.
Let's go. You good?
I'm not thinking about being a blue or a maroon.
Correct.
When the Australian team gets announced, I cheer for Cameron Munster, as well as any other Queenslander. But quick one. I think we should go through that. Yep.
Yeah. Quick one. Is Damien Cook an Irishman? Because he can be.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Dylan Edwards might be too.
Yeah, let's see. It might be a few late changes to squads now that the Australian team has been sorted out. Cocksmith, that's episode 262. Penrith, minor premiers, back-to-back. It's really a question of, are they back here next year?
Oh, well, you'd have to say so, mate. But a couple of big losses in Kickout and Coruscant, like we said, they're pretty big kind of losses. But given the fact that Penrith have won all 4 grades of men's competition, senior competition this year, you'd have to say they've probably got a fair few players that are coming in that maybe we haven't really eyeballed yet. We'll see. I'd say they're top 4 again. They're going to be top 4 again next year, unless something.
They're back in the grand final.
If someone like Cleary does his cruciate in the first round, then that could be. But all things being equal, you'd think they would be. Yep.
Yeah. And sure. I will say this: that in a grand final, they didn't have a bad player. They didn't have anybody that didn't contribute to their performance, and that's a sign of dominance. What about Parramatta, mate? Are they back here next year?
So they're losing about 6 players altogether. No, I'd say they'll be in the 8. But I'm not sure that they'll make it past week 1 or 2 at the best in the finals, given everything being equal, like we said before.
A heck of a lot rests on the shoulders or the knees of Josh Hodgson. If he can get back to some of the form that we saw 4 or 5 years ago, they're a chance. If not, no dice. That's episode 262. That's Rob Cox. I'm Warrick Nicolson. And we hope you've enjoyed the September, hopefully not swan song, but the September soiree, let's call it that. Not the Footy Show, as we banged out a couple of episodes every single week. We'd love a review if you've got time for one. If you've enjoyed this effort through September, we'd love to hear from you. And I will leave the final words to the great man Cocksmith. Go for it, mate.
Cool, mate. 2022 season over. I'll talk to you later about the Australian selections, yeah?
Absolutely.
Pepsi.
Off the Footy Show.
Gus, sitting back watching that, not just tonight, the last couple of years. How much did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it's been brilliant. I particularly feel happy for the fans, the Panthers fans tonight. The last 2 years, COVID affected. They didn't get to see the grand final live last year. So to be here and experience a night like this, for the club to be so, resoundingly brilliant on the game day and beat their local neighbours so convincingly on the scoreboard. And you see the scenes here. These are the things that grab me. Like, all these blokes came to us as teenagers, most of them. And now they've got wives, they've got families, they've got kids, they've got houses, they've got cars. Like, they've just grown up as a group of players together. One telling factor that I saw leading into this game was that 13 of this 17 not only came through the Panthers Academy, but have played 100% of their NRL football with the one club. That's an extraordinary statistic, to think that this club has produced not only more NRL players over the last 10 years, but more representative class players over the last 10 years. And this year to win all 4 of the major senior representative competitions plus the NRL is just a showing that it's just beginning. It's not this isn't the end of it, this is the start of it. It really is a strong club. It's set up better than any other, and they deserve everything they get. The key to it is having good people. The academy is not the bricks and mortar. The academy is the people who work within it and put so much of their love and time into these players and really help them to realise their dreams. The academy is an inspiration for all kids in Western Sydney and Western New South Wales, and it's been represented. Every demographic of our Western Sydney culture is represented in this team, all the way from Dubbo down into the heart of the Penrith area and the Blacktown area and all those areas surrounding. It really is a demographic representative of the whole community out there.
Off the Footy Show.
You've been sleeping over there?
Pepsi.